Hey, this is Cassandra, and welcome to Real Life Tarot. I am a tarot card reader and an astrologer. And so these real life tarot and astrology episodes are to show you how I integrate and use tarot and astrology in my own life. And it hopefully will give you some ideas about how you can use it in your life. So here we have, my question is how to approach creating a Udemy class and getting it live. So just as a little background, and I do feel weird talking about myself, but I think it's going to help people. I have a class on Udemy. It's not, I titled it wrong. It's maybe not that great of a class, but I really feel like I can make some money and reach some people through Udemy, through, putting classes on there. But it's just, what happens is I either go off half-cocked and things aren't done well, or I work on them and then I get bored and lose interest and do something else. Or, I've even gotten stuff like 3/4 of the way done, and then, like I said, I decide, oh, that's not the right thing, and I move on to something else. So I have some major issues around this. So this is an ongoing thing. Like, this reading is not going to solve it, but let's just take a look. So this first card is me, and then this second card here is a published Udemy class. So, okay, here I am, the Ace of Wands. That's really easy for me to understand. It's like, this is the creative me. I'm full of ideas. I'm full of enthusiasm to do something, but like I said, further on down the road, we have problems. But it's like, I'm never short of ideas. And I always think of something, like I'm doing something, I'm working, or I'm driving or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I should do a class about that. I should do, you know what I mean? So it's never a shortage of ideas. And I enjoy the creative process of putting things together. So that's me. That's easy. That makes sense to me. So here's the finished Udemy class, which comes up as Justice. And I like this card. I like this card. What first stands out to me is how there is a reflection here. So there's a balance and a reflection. Now, the Justice card, one of the associations with it is Libra. And I think it has a pretty strong association with Libra, the scales, the astrology sign. So we can run with that. So when I read, and I like to advise people, like, yeah, there's quote unquote definitions, but there's also things that you get from the card intuitively when you're looking at it. So intuitively, I got that mirroring. And I was like, I like that mirroring. I like how she's showing up in this card, but it's a mirror image of herself, or a reflection of herself is probably a better way to say it. So what that's saying to me is, it's like the finished product should contain me. I should be in the finished product. As finished class Justice, what's the balance in this situation? I really like the reflection in the card. Weighing out what's most important. Okay, so there's a whole, with the Libra and the scales and the Justice, there's a weighing out. Being able to see myself in the work. And then, of course, Venus is associated with Libra. So it's beautiful work. And there's a good relationship there. Because I think that's part of what my issue is, too, is I get lost, because I'm like, oh, well, what do people really want? And sure, you need to produce something that people want. But at the same time, you can't be overly concerned with how you're coming across to other people. So there's that balance idea again. All right, so moving on. So then I'm okay, I'm here, the class is here, so what's the block? So the block comes up here as the King of Wands. And I really like this card. Let me hold it up for you, if you can see better. Yeah, I think you can see it. Notice how he has the salamander on his shirt? That's pretty cool. And then like the top of that torch is kind of like a crown, and then you've got Leo because wands are, they're associated with fire signs. So this is a particularly nice card. So anyway, okay, so in this case, since I did get the King of Wands here, I'm seeing that more as a resource rather than a block. Like you might pull a block card and it's like there's definitely a block there. Like there's something like you got to move, get around, get under, whatever. But it's like, okay, I need to work with the King of Wands. I'm not utilizing the King of Wands. So let's see what I put down about that. Okay, so I put block King of Wands, management of creative ideas. I need a manager. So that's what I'm saying. I left to my own devices, I tend to just zing off in all these different directions and just not get the stuff done. And it's weird because I'm self-employed and I manage myself all the time. But when it comes to this kind of stuff, it's like not so much management. Myself all the time in my job. It's like it's not like I can't do it, but it's just in this situation I can't do it. So what else did I write? Oh, energy started in upper chest, has moved into the stomach. So before I started this reading, it's like I just kind of meditated on the question a little bit, and I felt like there was a constriction in the kind of the upper chest going toward the throat. And then when I got to the King of Wands and kind of sat with that for a second, then it moved into my stomach. And that felt better. So that's, for whatever it's worth, that's a clue. That's like a kinesthetic thing. So that's another thing I tell people when they're reading, you're going to get different information different ways. I am very auditory and I hear a lot of stuff. I hear a lot of commentary in my head and things like that. You may not get it that way. You may get it a different way. So that was just an example of kinesthetics right there. Okay. So then the question is how can I work with the King of Wands as my manager, or however you want to think about it, and get to this pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, which is the Udemy class being published. So I decided to pull 2 cards for this because it felt like it, and also it kind of mirrors this justice, so it's like, okay, so what do we need to balance in this situation? And so my 2 cards I got were the 6 of Cups and the 9 of Pentacles. So this is one where it's like you can really not even worry about tarot card definitions so much and just look at what's happening on the card, which I did. So we have 6 of Cups. So they have this guy here with this dog, baby with the puppy. Maybe this is this guy when he was young with the dog, when he was a puppy, or maybe that's his son with a puppy and now he's older or whatever. But this is just, like links to the past and feeling good feelings, like good connected feelings from the past. So, I took this as like, what has worked for me in the past? What has made me feel good in the past? And it's kind of like a message, like make sure you're feeling good in the situation and you're kind of connecting to this childlike innocence, in the creative process. And then we have the 9 of Pentacles here. And so, here we have the lady in the pentacles and all this. And so that instantly is be grateful what you have and where you're at. So that really struck out to me because it is true. When I think about these Udemy classes or start working on them, I come from this place of, I'm so lame. I can't get this class done. I can't get this class out. I don't have anything to show for myself, blah, 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 blah. So I'm not coming from a place of gratitude like, hey, I already have one class, so it's not doing that great. I have one done, and so let's do another. And I'm happy that I have the time and the space to create another class or something like along those lines. So there's that. And then also, if you notice, she's like picking one of the pentacles or whatever, and I took that as that's low-hanging fruit there. She's picking low-hanging fruit, and you hear that phrase. So, that means just take what's easy and don't try not to make anything too complicated. Pick the low-hanging fruit. So whatever is there and it's easy to get to and it's easy to do, then do it. But if it's too complicated or there's too many unknowns involved or whatever, then table it. So just pick the low-hanging fruit. And then finally, I picked one more card for like this is like what the final advice is. And I pulled the World. So the World card, they usually have some image of some woman dancing in the middle of it. So with the World card, it's like, to me, it's kind of like it's life is what you make it. And it's kind of like the fortune versus free will. Like, is everything we have free will? Do we have 100% free will? Is anything fated? And I think most of us probably know, I don't know if we accept it, but we know that it's actually both. It's both. It's both. And it's coming back, once again, it's coming back to this, like this balance idea. Like there's two things at play here. And so how are you going to do the dance of life, and make life your destiny or whatever? And I know that sounds kind of cliche, but it really is true. So that's like the final advice is like, life is what you make. So go make it you to be. So I hope it's helpful. If you would like me to do a reading for the same form question, come up with a form reading and just kind of step you through what I'm doing when I'm doing it. So it's kind of like a learning process and just a glimpse into how you could use tarot in your everyday life. I'm going to put a description and you can get a reading like this. So I will see you next time on Real Life Tarot.